They brought you some pizza.
Here.
Where's she going? That's a surprise.
What is going on?
Surprise! We had to stay up all night to get you here.
Yeah. I know normal instincts would be run to them, but for some reason, my mind told me to run away.
Hold up, because the Bates universe just served up a full 4-course meal of awkward, messy, and wait, did we miss something energy? And the internet is not being gentle about it. First up, an old Katie Bates and Travis Clark engagement era moment is going viral again, and people are rewatching it like it's a masterclass in red flags. Travis shows up with a big romantic gesture, and Katie's reaction? Let's just say fans are split between "that's cute and overwhelming" and "her instincts were screaming." Meanwhile, the Travis and Katie discourse has officially hit a new stage. Even the snark cloud is sounding tired. Not bored, tired. Like, this isn't entertaining anymore. It's heavy, with tons of people arguing Katie won't leave because of how she was raised, and others saying once trust cracks, the marriage never feels the same again. Next, the speculation gets even louder about a reset behind the scenes. People tossing around theories about counseling, accountability circles, pressure from family and church culture, and whether this whole comeback is genuine healing or a carefully managed rebrand. And finally, the harshest take of all is dominating the comments, that Travis doesn't regret what allegedly happened, he just regrets that it went public. Some people think he was pushed to address it before someone else did, while others say a temporary, carefully worded confession feels more like damage control than real accountability. So yeah, this story is not calming down. If you want the fastest updates and the real-time fan reaction energy, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And now, let's start with that viral clip that has everyone asking the same question: why did Katie run away instead of running in? An old romantic clip just resurfaced, and it has everyone rewatching Katie Bates and Travis Clark like it's a case study. If you've been following the Bates world, you already know why this matters. Fans aren't just reacting to one awkward moment. They're questioning the entire vibe of the relationship. And because this is a couple whose courtship era played out in public, people feel weirdly entitled to analyze every second like it's evidence. So here's what kicked this off. A throwback clip from Katie and Travis's engagement era is going viral again, and the moment at the center of it is simple on paper. Travis shows up doing a big romantic gesture, flowers in one hand and pizza in the other, like he's trying to check every future husband box in a single doorway entrance. But instead of leaning in and melting, Katie bolts. Not a cute little run and squeal, it reads more like an immediate "I need distance" retreat, and the internet has been locked in ever since. The reactions are all over the place, but the theme is loud. People say the scene feels performative, like the kind of grand gesture that looks perfect when you know a camera is around, but lands differently when the person receiving it seems tense, overwhelmed, or just not on the same wavelength. Some viewers see it as Travis trying too hard to present a polished, perfect boyfriend moment. Others see it as Katie reacting like a very young woman under pressure, suddenly realizing she's expected to play a role right on schedule. And then the comment sections do what they always do. They split into camps. One camp drags Katie and calls the reaction immature, like she wasn't emotionally ready for marriage. Another camp pushes back hard and says running away isn't childish if you feel anxious or pressured, it's your body protecting you. That's where the conversation gets deeper than gossip, because people start zooming out and connecting it to the larger culture they come from, where courting is structured, engagement timelines move fast, and big, sweet moments are practically part of the script. From there, the speculation snowballs. Some commenters suggest the relationship always felt rushed by the environment around them, with expectations from family and faith and the public-facing brand. Others go further into opinion territory and wonder if the spotlight itself was a factor, because when your love story is content, there's an incentive to keep things looking picture perfect even when it's complicated behind the scenes. And now, with this clip resurfacing, people are calling it one of those rare moments that feels unintentionally honest because the reaction doesn't match the romance that's being presented. The viewer angle is pretty clear. Do you see Katie's sprint as cute, overwhelmed energy or as instinct screaming that something felt off? Either way, fans are treating that split-second reaction like it says more than the flowers ever could. Stick around because the Travis and Katie conversation online has officially entered its most exhausting era yet. The internet isn't even entertained anymore. People are sounding genuinely exhausted by the Travis and Katie storyline. And that's why this matters right now. When the snark crowd stops cackling and starts sighing, it usually means the conversation has shifted from messy to heavy. Katie Bates and Travis Clark have been under a microscope for so long that even the people who live for the chaos are now debating whether this is spiraling into something darker or just being repackaged until everyone forgets. So here's what sparked this new wave. A thread in the Bates Snark universe basically opened with the energy of, I'm over the Travis-Katie debacle, and not because it's boring, because it feels like the plot keeps repeating. The vibe is, Katie stays, the public image gets patched, the timeline keeps moving, and eventually the audience is expected to act like nothing happened. That's the fear underneath the I'm tired comments. Not that there's no story, but that the ending is going to be a slow fade into denial. In the replies, people split into a few big camps. The first camp is blunt. They don't think Katie's going anywhere. They point to the way she was raised, the whole marriage is forever mindset, and the idea that leaving wouldn't feel like an option. It would feel like failure. In that view, even if she's hurting, the system around her is built to keep her in place. Family expectations, church culture, and the pressure to preserve the image. Then there's a second camp that talks less about divorce and more about emotional damage. They keep repeating some version of trust doesn't come back the same once it breaks, and their tone is almost mournful, like even if the couple stays together, the vibe of the marriage changes permanently, more guarded, more tense, less safe. It's not dramatic for drama's sake. It's people describing what they think the long-term impact could look like. The third camp tries to pull it back to reality and logistics, because this is where the conversation gets practical. Commenters bring up how leaving isn't just a moral decision, it's a life overhaul. Money, custody, housing, and the gut punch of not having your kids with you every night if it ever got to that point. And they point out something uncomfortable but true. Those logistics keep people in unhappy marriages all the time, even outside religious pressure. And then, the comparison spiral. Some commenters start mentioning other high-control family dynamics as examples of she'll stay no matter what. But others push back and say it's not fair to lump every situation together. But the reason people reach for comparisons is simple. They're trying to understand what choices Katie realistically feels she has. A smaller thread inside the thread focuses on public image, how couples sometimes lean harder into curated, cozy content when they want to project stability. And to be clear, that's interpretation, not proof. But it shows how little trust the audience has right now. Even normal posts get read like strategy. I think the most telling part is that fans aren't arguing over tea anymore. They're arguing about what staying means in a culture that treats leaving like a scandal. And if you're watching this unfold, it's fair to wonder whether the silence is peace or just pressure. Don't go anywhere, because the next conversation gets even messier with people speculating about a behind-the-scenes reset and what kind of counseling could be involved. So are Katie and Travis actually back to normal? Or are we watching the cleanest reset job in Bates history? This matters because the internet isn't reacting to one post or one vibe shift anymore. People are reacting to what they think is happening behind the scenes. After weeks of side-eye and heavy discussion, the latest wave of commentary is basically saying the same thing. This couple didn't just talk it out. They allegedly hit some kind of structured, high-pressure repair phase, and now everyone's trying to move forward fast. Here's what's fueling the chatter. Online commenters are speculating that whatever went down between Katie Bates and Travis Clark didn't end with a private apology and a hug. They're guessing it involved counseling, and not the modern sit on a couch and process your feelings kind, more like the Christian marriage first style counseling that can sometimes feel less like, what do you need, and more like, you need to stay and make this work. That's the core suspicion, that the goal wasn't freedom or clarity, it was containment. And then, once people start believing a reset happened, they start asking who the reset is really for. Some commenters frame it like Travis may have wanted out at some point, but the moment the situation became public or widely discussed, the path of least resistance became smile, regroup, post normally, and act like the storm never existed. Not because everything is healed, but because image management is easier than emotional chaos when your life is public. From there, the takes get sharper. People question whether accountability is real if it only shows up after consequences. They're basically saying, if you admitted anything because you got caught, that's not growth, that's damage control. And again, that's opinion from the crowd, not confirmed facts, but it's the dominant mood. A lot of viewers are reading the comeback as strategy. The conversation also pulls in pressure points that would make any couple feel trapped. Some commenters speculate that family expectations and reputation are a major force here, and they go even further into theory land by bringing up finances. In their minds, if there's family money or a support system tied to staying in line, it becomes another invisible leash. Is there proof in the thread? No, but it shows you how intense the audience's assumptions have become. They're not imagining two people talking, they're imagining a whole machine working to keep a public marriage from collapsing. Another detail that really set people off is timing. Commenters fixate on how quickly public-facing content can return after something emotionally heavy, and they interpret that as cold or calculated. Even if you don't agree, you can see why it hits a nerve, because when someone looks like they've moved on too smoothly, people start wondering whether anyone was given real space to process. And underneath all of this is the darkest fear fans keep repeating, that Katie won't get to choose her own pace, that she'll be nudged into forget, and then life speeds up. More responsibilities, more pressure, more public performance, while the real fallout stays locked behind closed doors. In my opinion, the reason this debate won't die is because the comeback feels too polished for a story people believe was messy. And when the reset looks perfect, the audience assumes the cost was paid privately. Keep it locked, because the next thread goes from reset talk to full-blown motive analysis. The newest theory about Katie Bates and Travis Clark is brutal. People don't think he spoke up because he wanted to, they think he spoke up because he had to. Quick context, because this is why the internet is spiraling right now. The Travis and Katie conversation has shifted from awkward clips and vibe checks into motive speculation, and it's all being driven by online chatter. Nothing here is confirmed fact. This is people reacting to what they claim they've seen and heard, and trying to piece together why a public-facing couple would address anything at all. So here's what's blowing up. In a fresh Reddit-style discussion, commenters are debating whether Travis allegedly regrets what happened or whether he mainly regrets that it became public. And you can feel how intense the audience is about the difference, because to them, remorse looks like accountability before you're forced, not a statement after the internet is already talking. One of the loudest questions in the thread is simple: why go public? A bunch of commenters argue that most people who truly want privacy would handle it privately, period. So if something gets addressed publicly, they assume there's a reason, and the biggest theory is pressure. Some people speculate that Travis may have been pushed into addressing it because someone else was about to expose it first. That's where you see terms like forced, damage control, and getting ahead of the story popping up. Again, this is all alleged and framed as online interpretation, not receipts. Then comes the spin debate. Commenters accuse the whole situation of being repackaged into a redemption arc because audiences love a clean storyline: confession, tears, forgiveness, fresh start. Some even claim the attention has boosted engagement, turning the scandal conversation into a numbers game. More clicks, more eyes, more curiosity. And if your life is public, people assume you're doing PR whether you admit it or not. But not everyone buys the redemption narrative. A lot of replies keep repeating the harsh line that he doesn't regret cheating, he regrets getting caught. Some take it further and argue that a temporary, disappearing kind of statement doesn't feel like real accountability because it controls how long the conversation can live. In their eyes, it's not "I'm owning this," it's "I'm managing this." Another mini debate in the comments is about language. Some people insist there's a difference between calling something cheating versus calling it an affair, because affair implies ongoing choices and emotional investment, not one impulsive moment. And that distinction matters to viewers because it changes what forgiveness even looks like. To them, you can't just hit reset if the betrayal was prolonged. And then the thread circles back to the vibe problem. If the couple appears to be moving forward quickly, commenters read that as rushing the cleanup before anyone can ask follow-up questions. Some interpret it as a desire to protect Katie. Others interpret it as protecting the brand. In my opinion, the reason fans won't let this go is because the public response, whatever it was, didn't quiet the questions, it amplified them. When a story feels curated, the audience assumes the mess is bigger off camera. Don't go anywhere because we're about to hit a lightning round recap of the biggest jaw-droppers in this whole Katie and Travis saga. All right, lightning round time, because this Katie and Travis saga just would not let the internet rest. First, that throwback engagement clip resurfaced, and fans are rewatching Katie's runaway reaction like it's the loudest instinct check ever. Next, the snark crowd went from entertained to exhausted, with people arguing Katie won't leave, and once trust cracks, the whole marriage energy changes. Then, the speculation kicked into overdrive about a behind-the-scenes reset, with commenters guessing counseling, pressure, and image management are driving the comeback. And finally, the harshest debate yet. Did Travis go public out of remorse, or because he feared getting exposed first? Now, I need your take. When you watch all this unfold, do you think this is genuine healing or a carefully managed cleanup? Drop your opinion in the comments and keep it respectful. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss an update. Share this with a fellow Bates watcher and follow us for more reality TV tea and timeline deep dives. And tomorrow's upload? Let's just say the next story has the potential to blow this whole conversation wide open. Thanks for watching The Fame. Stay fabulous, Fame fam.